Hi, I'm Chris from Future Music Magazine, and we're here with Matthias from Korg. He's going to be showing us these three new, what are they, Volca little units. Yeah, tell us about why more analog. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's trendy to go more analog, and all of these three boxes are purely analog, and they are something in between the electribes and the monotribes, and well, we've done three of them. It's the Volca Beat, which the name is saying is a drum machine. You can see the classic style of it, and it's implemented with equipped with a step sequencer, which is known for most of the Korg products. And we have four analog, fully analog and tweakable sounds, a kick, snare, tom, and head. And we do have some more sounds which are implemented by a PCM. And well, it's sounding very punchy, very electro, and very stylish, and it's more heavy than the little unit look like. And
this isn't just a sequencer. We can trigger from these.
Yeah, of course. There's a sequencer implemented, but you can also play it via MIDI. So it's not only MIDI sync, it's also MIDI note on off and stuff. So if you switch in an external keyboard, you can also play it via keyboard.
So velocity sensitive sounds then when you've got a MIDI keyboard in?
Yeah.
Yep. And can you change what notes they're assigned to, or are they fixed?
No, they are fixed.
They are fixed.
Yeah.
And are they assigned in a sort of normal general MIDI pattern? So
No. This is this is really kind of an analog piece, and I mean you could also not address the MIDI controls on a TR-909 and stuff. It's really like an old school fashioned 80s drum machine, and this is what it sounds like.
So moving along, because they all work with each other, don't they? Like similar to the monotribe series.
What's interesting on it, you can, for example, if you've got an electribe and you do the MIDI out and the MIDI in, and it's in sync, you can use also the analog trigger sync out to sync, for instance, the Volca Bass. And this is, as you can see, it's very classical build. You probably know the knobs from another synthesizer. And it's also got the electribe step sequencer implemented, but we now got also slides. So you can, with that portamento stuff, you can slide from note to note doing the classical bassline sounds.
Yeah.
But it's not a copy, because the filter is totally different. We got three VCOs playing in there. Not like one oscillator, just to have very fat bass lines. If you hear it through your speakers, it's very low, very punchy, very deep.
So what's the filter based on? Is it based on like MS-20 designs? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a classical Korg MS-20.
Wow. Okay. And do we have inputs into that filter on here, or is it?
No, it's just a sync with no audio inputs, but it's also built with a speaker and with battery power. So if you're having one or two of them and then sitting in the park with your guys, you can jam along with it, or even do some monotribes in it. Everything, the monotribes, the electribes, the Volcas, they are familiar.
So you've got drums, bass,
and then we also got the Volca keys. Keys is a polyphonic synthesizer, which is three-voiced. It's more complex than the bass, as you can see, and you can adjust the pitch. You can adjust the settings of the oscillators. You have the possibility to record some of all the, if you're tweaking one of these glass-styled knobs, and you got the motion sequence, you can record to the sequence the turning of the knob. And well, it's. So
does it have different wave shapes on the oscillators, or is it just types?
It's types. It's settings of the oscillator. Okay. So, for instance, you got a ring modulated oscillator setting, or a chord, or a poly.
Yeah.
but you can press three notes on one time. So
Yeah.
it's like a total polyphonic synthesizer.
And again, plug in a MIDI keyboard, control it, play it like a polyphonic synthesizer.
Yeah, like the other units as well.
Okay, when are these out? When can we buy them?
Let's say summer.
Okay. And what kind of pricing are we looking at per unit?
Also, let's say about 150 euros, which is pretty cheap for such a nice beast of analog gear.
And that'll be around that price for each one. Will they vary in price, or are they going to be?
No, all
whatever
the
the price is,
yeah.
it'll all be the same, around 150. Excellent. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Bye.
Hi, I'm Chris from Future Music. Now, we just had the demo over on the Korg stand of these new little Volca analog machines. So we've come in here a bit more quiet so we can try and make some noise with them. So first up, we're going to look at the drum machine, which is this kind of like very familiar, recognizable style of drum machine. And we've got some sounds here, all with sort of analog style manipulations. You've got your kicks. And your hats. And your tom decay. So just like what you'd be familiar with on, older drum machines. And you've got your hi-hats, grains there. And then the other samples, which, as we heard earlier, are the kind of the PCM ones, you still do have this PCM speed, so you kind of get that really gritty when you start slowing it down. And then, of course, you've got the sequencer. I have no idea what sequence here, so okay, it's good. I don't know what this stutter is, so let's try and do that. Oh, there we go. So you've got the kind of... Okay, and then you've got these step sequences, so you can do all that yourself, and levels for each. I guess whichever you select, you've got a different... You've got your level for each one. So moving on, we've got the Volca Bass. You might recognise what this is sort of basing itself on. We've got the MS-20 style filter, which we heard about before. Again, sequencer, step sequencer. Oh, very resonant, nice. And of course these are synced, so in theory, we'll go back to beats for a second. Yeah, right. Okay, now switching sides, we've got the Volca keys, which is the polyphonic keyboard. So, let's go through the different. Let's get. Oh, this must have a sequence again. And then we can hear these different oscillator modes. That's particularly nice. Then we've got the filter. actually a delay on here as well. So and this one's acting as the master sync. So we go back to here, and this, in theory, this should be so all the units are synced to this device. And stop them all, and that's the best I can do for now.